What's up, folks? So we're here, episode 5 of My Dog's Place, and we're gonna switch it up a little bit today. We're going to do a little vlog style kind of walkthrough of what the day looks like, especially when a dog is about to go home. So we have Nash, and he goes home tomorrow, and one of the biggest things that his owners wanted to work on, besides the leash pulling and basic obedience, was his reactivity with dogs. We have Nash, and the biggest things with Nash was his reactivity. That was like a big thing, right? And this tends to be a big issue with a lot of owners, especially in downtown Miami, Brickell, you know, Edgewater, you know, all these places, you know, that have these high-rise buildings. There's a lot of elevators, you know, you have a lot of dogs with pent-up energy from being in the apartment all day, and then you take them out, they bolt out of the house, they're pulling on the leash, and then they open up the, you know, you get to the elevator door opens up, and there's another dog in there, maybe just as hyped up, maybe not as hyped up. The point is, it's always a recipe for disaster if your dog is not under control and you don't know how to control your dog, right? So in Nash's specific situation, well, he is a bit nervous. So there's a couple different reasons why reactivity can develop. And in Nash's situation, it was from being nervous. It was from a lack of confidence and from the understanding that, hey, if I don't have this forward, again, he's bluffing, he's a small dog, he's 18 pounds, but it is kind of like this thing that the dog does where, hey, I want the other dog or the other thing or that trigger that's making him nervous to back up. And this is what leads to that barking, that growling and stuff like that. And what a lot of owners don't realize is when we put tension on the leash and kind of try to hold them back, this creates frustration. And this makes the situation even 10 times worse. So what ends up happening a lot, and I'm sure a lot of people could vouch for this, is why does my dog do really good around other dogs when they're off leash, but then when they're on the leash, they automatically start barking and growling, and it's because of frustration. It's due to frustration, and the dog learns these things, right? So it was our job to desensitize, well, a couple things that we did, right? So one, we wanted to obviously approach the situation and make him understand that there's another way to go about this. There's another way to solve this, remove yourself from this uncomfortable situation. So we wanted to build his confidence. We wanted to counter condition his ability, or we wanted to counter condition his experiences with other dogs, and likewise we wanted to give him different experience. We wanted to give him positive experiences and multiple repetitions of these positive experiences around other dogs. So as I mentioned, we're going to go over to PetSmart right now. This one is cool. It's ideal because it has a vet and it has a groomer's, and obviously it's a pet store. So we're going to go over there. I've been doing this for like the past 2 days and just getting as much experience as I can with Nash in these situations. I want to see every single possibility of things that might happen while he's back with his owners, and I want to be able to properly relay how to deal with them. So it's on me to kind of analyze every single possible scenario. So this is why we're going to go to the PetSmart and kind of see exactly what we can do, right? So I've already been working on this for a little bit, but there's a couple things that I'm going to be looking for in this situation. So I want his eye contact, right? So every time he gives me eye contact, I'm going to be paying him for that. Every time he turns with me, I'm going to be putting him into a structured walk. And again, we've talked about the structured walk before versus the unstructured walk. The structured walk is for situations like this, when we're at the pet store. I want him to understand that we're in working mode right now. And I want him to pay attention to where he is relative to where I am. So left side, stopping when I stop, keeping my pace, etc. He's not gonna go in front of me, none of that stuff. If he does hyper focus on another dog, I'm going to turn around and go the other way, or I'm going to call. I am not going to be holding him accountable for necessarily reacting at the dogs. I'm going to be holding him accountable for not responding to when I give him a recall and not upholding the criteria, not following the rules of a structured walk. Having built this obedience, and this is why I talked about this in one of the previous episodes, where formal obedience versus informal obedience, this is literally informal obedience. This is not something you could fix by teaching your dog how to lay down and sit down, right? Because you teach your dog how to lay down, how to sit down, and the moment another dog walks by, they're gonna react still. So this is more informal. What formal obedience does do, what this formal training does do, is it allows us to set guidelines where our dog can follow, and we can hold them accountable if they break it. I'm not necessarily going to put Nash in a down or put him in a sit when another dog is there. It's not ideal for the situation that the owners are going to be through, right? Now again, I do want to replicate it sometimes, because obviously they're going to be in the elevator, they're going to want to put Nash in a sit, and they're going to want him to hang out. I want to do it more of a moving thing. I don't want Nash to react while I'm walking by. I want him to just be able to breeze past other dogs and instead look at me for guidance, and I'm going to be paying him for all these different things. I'm going to be paying him when he ignores other dogs, or when he sees another dog, acknowledges them, looks back at me. I'm going to pay him for that. I'm also going to be layering in this obedience and stuff like that, but for the sake of giving him something else to think about, as opposed to thinking about that dog. And I'm also going to be looking for what are the other dogs doing relative to what Nash is doing, right? So this is kind of a two-pronged approach. I have to make sure that I'm vouching for the animal. So if another dog is coming up and walking up and trying to greet Nash, it's on me to step in front and not let that happen, because that will mess up a lot of the training. And essentially what we're doing here, and essentially what I'm going to be telling the owners to do, is to start vouching for Nash, start stepping in for Nash. Nash is a bit nervous. He's, not super confident, so we've been building that confidence. But for that to continue being an upward trending situation, we have to make sure that we're not letting any of these outside variables kind of, interfere with our training. So we're gonna go ahead, we're getting to PetSmart now, so we'll go ahead and take a quick break, and then we'll be back as soon as we get back with inside the store. All right, so we're here at the PetSmart on Kendall Drive or something like that. A couple things we're gonna do. So I have this prong collar here. This is, again, prong collars are for leverage, but I'm gonna be paying Nash for everything that he does correctly. I'm gonna be hiding these treats. So quick thing to keep in mind, guys, at some point, I'm not saying that you want to not use treats. You always want to have something that you can pay your dog with, right? What I am saying is you don't always, sometimes the dogs start realizing, I know what the pouch means. So now I'm going to be hiding the treats. So Nash might smell them, he might know, but he doesn't see it. So this is going to kind of get him in the mindset of, well, maybe he doesn't have them, maybe he does, but I want to switch up how often I give him the rewards, but I also want to make him think that I don't have the rewards, so that when he does something correctly and I pay him for it, it means that much more for him. So we have our treats, we're loaded up with that. I have my leash. So as always, guys, first thing we do is enforce a threshold. And guys, I can't stress this enough. Threshold will save your dog's life. Please get into the habit of teaching your dog a threshold, and get into the habit of enforcing a threshold, because I should be able to just hang out, okay, and then he asks for permission, and then he can get out. So as always, guys, what do we want to do? We're gonna let him empty the tank. Now we're back to business, right? Right now, I haven't put him in a structured walk just yet. Kind of just want him to hang out, do his thing. If we're lucky, we'll see some dogs there, but I'm prepared for anything that happens. So, threshold again. Okay. Hello. So far, so good. Not seeing any dogs here, but it's all right. Right now, Nash is just exploring, doing his thing. As I said, guys, Nash, yes. Good job. Why did I throw it on the ground? I want him away from whatever he was interested in, right? So I want to let him know that the value is over there as opposed to where he was just sniffing at, right? So, yes, get that eye contact. Even though it's not from a dog, I still want to reinforce that, hey, looking at me in this place that you might be nervous at, or, you know, there's potentially been other dogs and you have been nervous at, I want to encourage that this is good. So now, yes, run him a little bit, good job. So, right now we're just gonna hang out. Doesn't seem to be a lot of dogs here at the moment. It is a Sunday, but still, this is good experience for the dog. So, when in doubt, just practice a little bit of obedience. Nash, down. Good boy. I'm gonna practice a little bit of duration. Good. Nope. Good. Recall. Nash. Yes. Good. Good job. Still, this is good experience regardless. Because what I'm doing is I'm replicating exactly what the owners are going to want to be doing with Nash himself, right? Let's go by the grooming area. In either case, guys, I haven't put Nash in a structured walk, but he's still hanging out next to me, right? But again, he's allowed to kind of hang back and do his thing. Even though he's staying within this area, I'm not holding him accountable. Dog right there. Now I'm gonna put him in a structured walk. Nash, let's walk. So, go up close. Yes, good boy. Good job. Awesome. No, he's actually training right now, I'm sorry. Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. I get that question all the time. I appreciate it. Most people will just go up and pet your dog anyways, you know, so. Yes, good boy. Nash, down. Good boy. Good. Good. Free. Good job. Not a dog on the ground. The dog was, you know, being held up by the owner. It's still a dog though. It's still a scenario in which he could potentially be nervous, and I want to reinforce that, hey, seeing a dog is not a bad thing. So I now just kind of keep it pushing. Yes. Start paying him randomly for eye contact. Yes. I want him more focused with me, right? We talk a lot about engagement, and this is why engagement is good. The dog has two options here. Look up at Carlos and get paid some really tasty treats, or get corrected for breaking the rules. You know, you have both options. Obviously, you know which one is the dog gonna take. Yes. Obviously, the dog is gonna rather that, right? And again, if I didn't have treats, it's not to say that this is as valuable as treats, but I can always use affection, right? So, toss that over there. Nash. Good boy. Good job. Who's a good boy? 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 Nice. And again, this also works as reinforcement, guys. So keep in mind that we want to use all of these different things that we have in our toolbox and be able to use it when we need to. Now, there's a dog over there and he's a little nervous. Is that gonna be a good enough motivator to just give him affection? Maybe, maybe not. It all depends on where your dog is in terms of his training, his or her training. So really wish I had some more dogs. This is good enough. As you can see, guys, you know, we have to really, really understand that Nash is doing amazing right now. able to give me some duration on a down, even though there were some people holding a dog right there. All these things are different situations in which the owner might also find themselves in, you know? And I want to replicate all these things so that I know, okay, where is Nash at? When we do these board and trains, a lot of times people think, hey, they ask me, what's a guarantee, right? What am I guaranteed if I bring in my dog? And unfortunately, we can't guarantee anything. We're dog trainers, and dog training is 25% on the dog and 75% on the owner. The dogs pick up on these habits and the structure and, you know, the voice commands. They pick up on this stuff relatively easy, but if the owners don't upkeep any of the training, they will revert. This has happened a lot where we've sent dogs home solid, and they come back and, you know, there's certain things, you can see that there's holes in the training or holes in the upkeeping of the training, right? So again, it's on us not to really take this stuff personally, but we also have to realize that, you know, it's on us to specifically educate and concisely educate the owners on what they should be doing. And for this, we need to essentially take in the dogs as our own. When the dogs have a board and train with us, they are essentially becoming our dogs for the next 2 to 4 weeks. So it's on us to see what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, how are they going to react in all these different situations. And I'm going to put Nash in these different situations so that I can properly relay this information to their owners. So that's about it. It's always, as I say most of the time, it's good to keep these sessions very short. It's been about 10 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and call it, guys. So that'll be it for today's episode. I'm glad that you guys were able to stick around. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions or any type of concepts that you would like me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. I'd be more than happy to oblige. Thanks again, guys. Take it easy.